Osiris.
Hey everyone, welcome to Goose Chicks Podcast, an all-women-led show focused on the band Goose and the community that supports them. I'm Leslie Mack, producer and co-host for our very first official show. We are so excited to gather the full Goose Chicks Podcast team, my co-host Alexius, and our contributors Chelsea and Hannah. But kicking things off, in honor of our first episode, we have our very first guest on the show, and I'm so excited to welcome the amazing Mia Lee, owner of Just Like That Custom Designs. If you do not know who Mia is a mother of 5, a grandmother of 4, and a wife of 1. She is a self-taught graphic designer and screen printer working in the industry for over 20 years. She's passionate about art, design, and community service. She is certified in art therapy and works alongside her husband at Conceptual Art Therapy. Mia, listen, This is epic having you here. We are so excited. Chelsea, Hannah, when I told you, I was like, I think Mia might come on the show. What were y'all thinking? Was it like, oh my goodness, yeah. Just curious what you both thought.
I'm pretty sure our group chat just went wild. We're all like, yay, oh my gosh.
In a good way, right?
Yes, we're so excited, so excited.
Oh, no, not her.
Yes, we were
I'm excited to be here. I haven't, I'm painfully shy, for one. And so I haven't really spoken on anything that's been going on at all. So this will be my first time.
Ooh, a scoop.
And I'm just glad to be here among the women.
Yes.
Just talking about things.
Talking about the things. And you all can't see, but I happen to have one of Mia's designs on today.
God. She's so cute.
It arrived this morning and I feel like it was an omen, just was meant to be. So, you know how spirit moves. So exciting. So I wanted to just start with a little background. You know, folks may recognize Mia's company, Just Like That Custom Designs, because in Trey Anastasio's Beacon Jams run in 2020, he wore one of Mia's designed Love face masks. And so I want to kind of start there. If you could just tell a little bit of the story, like how did Trey get this mask? And then what happened in the aftermath of him wearing it and posting it and talking about it?
Oh my God. So it was amazing. So what happened, I had moving away from my Etsy store at the time. And the design came from, everybody was telling us to cover your face. And I'm like, I smile a lot. And it's like, how do people know that, you know, we're friendly or we're there for them if we're not able to smile when we greet them? I said, you know, what can I put on a mask that says, you know, hey, I'm with you. I'm standing with you, even though we're 6 feet apart. And I was like, peace and love, right? Because, you know, that'd be great. So I did it and I was selling it on Etsy when Mr. Sam Spector found it. And he is Trey's stylist. And he was really, he kept everything really low key. And he was like, hey, yeah, I think I need to order 50 masks. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah. And he said, can you put one on? Because you don't have it showed on. I want to make sure. And I put it on to send him a picture and he ordered the 50 masks and I shipped them out. And he said, it's kind of a surprise what we're going to be doing with them. Had no idea who Sam was. And he said, but I'm going to send you a link later. So he sent me a link to Beacon Jams and I'm just like grooving, right? And I'm like, oh, eventually somebody's going to come out in my mask. I was like, something's going to happen. So I'm working and grooving. And then the finale was like phenomenal. And I'm like, we had to like kind of cut that because I'm like recording, you know, but we kind of had to cut the audio because I might have squealed a few times. And it's like, that wasn't cool. And it was just great. It was like, and then as it's going on, I keep saying like, who is this guy? Not who is this guy, because everybody knows who this guy is, but who does this? Like, just like randomly pick some random Etsy home base kind of business and then just like, well, let's just blow up her life. And that's exactly what happened. And it was funny because we're watching, and then I call my kids in the room. Well, kids, they're grown adults, but I call them in the room and I'm like, would you look at this? And so they're watching, and then it ends, and my son was like, well, did you record it? I said, yeah, but I'm sure I didn't do it right, so you fix it. And so as he's fixing it, I don't know if you guys have ever had an Etsy shop, but when somebody buys something from your Etsy shop, you get this cash register sound. And my phone went ka-ching, and it was late. And I'm like, somebody found their way to my store kind of late. And then it went ka-ching, 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 like nonstop. And I was like, wait, something's wrong with my phone. Something's wrong with my Etsy shop. Terribly, terribly wrong. And it goes on, and then it just stops. And I was like, oh my God, that was so amazing. That was so great. And then my son said, well, why did it stop? I said, look at the orders. That's fine. This is good. He said, no, but why did it stop? And then I looked, and my Etsy shop was out of, and you guys had cleaned out my inventory. So all my inventory was gone. So they could, so he said, put some more in inventory. So I did. And it just went crazy. So a lot of people ask me, do I know Trey? Nope. He just was like, hey, let's blow up her life. And yeah,
it's amazing.
It was amazing. It was a wonderful experience.
Wow,
Sure.
That's so fantastic, and certainly indicative of how jam band fans react when folks like Trey, put out there that they're supporting something. We're such a community of givers, and so this doesn't surprise me, but also I imagine it was super overwhelming, especially as you said, you're not in the scene, you don't know, and coming out of the blue, it's really interesting.
Right.
So I wanted to just name the fashion elephant in the community right now, because I don't like folks to not have context for full conversations. But earlier this fall, State Bags put out a special Trey x State love collection that clearly, I'm just being frank from my perspective, clearly used your love design, and you weren't credited. And when I tell you that the Trey fans were not having it. I learned of it because I was looking in the comments, and I was like, oh, I saw one comment, and then every comment was like, first of all, tagging you, because they assumed, because all of us would have assumed, right, that you were involved in this. And so many women fans in particular felt really slighted by this and really felt like this was wrong. Something had to be done. And I want to also credit you, Mia, because I remember seeing your response, and you were so measured, and you were like, listen, this is going to a great charity. I don't want to stop funds flowing into a great charity, but just being plain, I had nothing to do with this. I wasn't credited. I wasn't involved. So I guess, what was it like in that moment? Because since then, you've released your own Trey x Mia collection, which, when I tell you, it's so exciting, very exciting for us. But I just wanted to talk about, Hannah, I know you had a question around there.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for sharing your story. I got goosebumps just hearing you tell it, because it's such an amazing story. But what was it like seeing that vocal support from so many fans?
Oh my God. I can't even really begin to describe it. Let me just say, okay, so I'm one of those just less honest chicks. I'm just going to say what I think. And sometimes it sounds kind of weird, but I didn't expect anybody to care. Right. And so when it happened, I was like, well, first Linda, oh my God, Linda tagged me, and she goes, did you have anything to do with this? And I was like, well, not really. And so then when it really started happening, and it was a tremendous outpouring. My inbox was full, and my everything was full, and people just started going to my Etsy shop and buying out all my stuff. And it was like, it was a great feeling, of course, but it was a reminder to me that things aren't as cold in the world as you think they are.
Mm.
Because when it happened, I think my initial response was business is business.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it happens and business is business. And but then this happened and I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay. Okay. And I didn't want to say any, because I knew where it was going and I wanted it to go there. And if they had asked, I would have said, go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. Right. Anyway. And so I kind of, I was like, well, who's going to know? Who's going to care? But wow, did they care? Like, wow, super wow, did they care? Yeah. And to that, So when I knew that they were doing the bags, they were already done. Mm-hmm. So in our initial meeting, I was shown the bag and saying, hey, isn't this great? This is what we're doing. Isn't it great? And I was like, yeah, it's great. It's great that, and they're like, all the proceeds are going to the Divide the Sky Foundation, which I thought was amazing. So I'm like, yeah, that's great. But we didn't really talk about, it was never mentioned. I don't know how much to say on this, but it was never mentioned that, hey, this is your design.
Right.
If you can imagine, it was kind of a weird, awkward kind of conversation, saying everything except for we want to use your design, or we did use your design, or we're going to use your design. Everything but that was said. And so I just I did have some concerns, and I did raise some concerns, and I got some pushback when I raised my concerns. Mm. And so I think what I said when I got the pushback was, hey, you know what? I'm not working against you. I'm not trying to fight you. I just want this to go out so that everybody's good. We all want the same thing, but let's just, how do we do it so that everybody's good? And by everybody good, I meant that I'm a little bitty company with my little bitty design. And when a bigger company starts printing your design, now it becomes kind of clouded. Was it your design?
Right.
Or, you know what? And I was like, hey, can we just do something? And at the time I was shopping that Peace and Love design on some shorts, right? And there are a couple of retailers still who are looking at putting it into their stores, and they are wanting to showcase smaller businesses, but they were adamant at this is your design. You did not get this from me. And so I expressed that that was my concern, that I have told these people this is my design, and now I have the concern that it's going to come out in a big way and I'm not attached to it.
Right.
So, that kind of makes me look kind of shady. Mm-hmm. But in the end, I was just like, well, you know what? Just go with it. It's all going to work out. In the end, it'll wash out. Nobody will even know. Maybe it'll blow over. But boy, did it not blow over. And a big old thank you to everybody who was speaking up for me when I just didn't have it in me to say anything. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. Even now, I'm still kind of shaky on it. But I was terribly upset. And I didn't want to speak out of a place of hurt or anger. Especially on the internet where it lasts forever and my anger does not. So I was just very quiet. And there was a group that kind of surrounded me, and what do you need and how can we help? And we'll say it if you don't want to say it, and all these wonderful things. So all in all, it's a good experience. That's weird to say, right? But it was a bonding experience. It was an experience that let me know that I'm really not out here on my own, and I'm really not as small and insignificant as I feel sometimes. It was great. It's great. Continues to be great.
I just love everything about how you sort of summarize that. One, as everyone knows, Goose Chicks podcast is a, woman centered, and we center women's voices and also our experiences. And what you were describing as a really specific experience, because I don't know if this would have happened to a male creator. One of the ways in which we get sidelined is because of our identities, right? Hannah, I know you have to talk, so I'm going to let you go. I can see y'all can't see Hannah, but she's very excited. So it's great.
I just, this is why I wanted to do this podcast, because the experiences of women just always get erased. And so, wow, it's like a dream to have someone like you, Mia, on this show. That's all I want to say. I don't want to take away from y'all, but I don't know. I'm a sociologist. I'm a women's and gender studies scholar. So it makes my little heart happy that this space exists and we get to hear your story from you directly. It's just, it is awesome.
Chelsea, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, just women supporting women is all I can think about. It's just so great to hear everyone's stories and just the love that you were talking about that you felt. I think that's one thing we talk about in the Goose community itself, of just you feel the love, right? And so in a way, how everyone just supported you and came to your back and you just feel so loved. That's the truly heartwarming part of it, I think.
Nice. Well, I mean, it was totally unexpected at this, just because when I thought, okay, well, it's going to happen. So a lot of people thought I didn't know it was coming. I knew it was coming, right? But I didn't think anybody would care. And I wasn't going to make a big stink about it. And so I was just, I'm just going to lay low. It's going to happen. It's going to blow over. The Divided Sky Foundation is going to get truly blessed and life is good. And then just knowing that, so I knew like a week before they announced it, maybe 2 weeks before they announced it, that probably longer than that it was going to happen. This thing was going to happen. And so I got all my feelings out and I was ready and I was like, okay. And then when it happened and the way you guys as a community responded, like all these feelings came back. And it was just like, I was overwhelmed and I'm like crying for no reason in the line at the grocery store. And like, it was one of those feelings where I don't know if you've ever felt like you were too small to say anything, like a little kid when you were a little kid and you're just like way too small to say anything. So just like you said, like in my own words, I would say, I said what I said. I said what I was uncomfortable with. I said what I said. And the pushback, the pushback was unpleasant. And so I just left it alone because I didn't want to have the fight. And I think to speak to you, Hannah, what you said about women, it's me not feeling comfortable with having an aggressive conversation is what put me in this position. Because I could have been very aggressive. I could have said no. I could have said, well, if you're not going to look out for me in this, then no. I know you've already printed the bag, but try and sell them and see what happens. I could have done all of that, but I didn't. I was very passive in my communication, so much so that I noticed that in communication following that, after the fallout or whatever, the communication from the other side was saying, well, we thought she was okay. Right? I voiced my concerns. I got the pushback. And then, I was told some things were going to happen that didn't happen anyway. Right? And so I was just like, well, we'll just see what happens. But I will say that in all of this, like when the mask came out and Trey and his team were at that time making comments and saying, hey, make sure you buy them directly from Mia. don't, there's a lot of knockoffs out there. Make sure you're going to her site, sharing my site, all these other things. And so I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel like it came from him, and I don't want to get out there and start saying things that now he has to deal with the fallout from something that didn't come from him or his organization. So I just kind of sat tight, and then turns out it didn't come from him. So, it's a wonderful feeling when you find out, when you think you know somebody that you don't really know, and then you find out, yeah, it lines up. Like, he really is that guy that I thought he was. So that was really cool.
I love that.
So that's the cool part, right? So as Leslie mentioned earlier, the Trey by Mia collection. How did that collection come to be?
That was all Trey. All of it. So his manager, Patrick, reached out to me, and he was like, this was a total misunderstanding. We didn't know this. We thought that you had signed off. We thought a lot of things. And he's very apologetic. And I was like, my initial reaction was like, like, oh my God, I'm so glad you guys aren't these people. And so we talked about it, and he said, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, they put the bags out and they sold out like immediately. The bags are gone. And he's like, do you want, we can pull the bags? I think we should pull the bags. And I said, no, because if you pull the bags, then that's the good that came out of this whole situation. So if you pull the bags, then the only thing left in this situation is hurt feelings and all these other things. I don't want that to be what this whole thing ends up as. So no, don't pull the bags. It's fine. Make reprints, makes lots of money, like for Divided Sky Foundation, like do all of that. But what do I want to do? I have no idea. I was clueless, and I was like, well, give me a minute. And he kept saying, no, what do you want to do? Like, let's fix it. Let's fix it now. And I'm like, okay, give me a second. And then Trey called, and super apologetic and super just spoke with me on like just a human to human first level. And then as an artist, how he would feel in that situation and all these things. And it was, I was just like, you didn't know, right? Like, you didn't know. He's like, well, we should have. I was like, but you didn't. You thought something else was going on. And I get it, because when it was happening, I was thinking like, there's no way. But anyway, so we talked about it, and then he kept saying, well, what do you want to do? How do we make it right? I want to make it right. What do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to. He too said, we're pulling the bags, right? We're going to pull. I was like, no, don't. Let's make some funds. Let's get it out there, And then he said, well, think about it. Let me know. And then Patrick calls back a couple of days later, because I'm a slow thinker. And he was like, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Still don't know. How do we make it right? I don't know. I don't know. And then he said, well, Trey is texting me and he wants to do a line. He wants to collaborate and just do a line. Are you down for that? I'm like, are you kidding? Well, like, yeah. Yeah. And then he said, well, is there something that you want to do? Like, I said, well, I want to do, like, so with the mask, when I was at Beacon Jams online, watching everything happen before they brought my mask out, I was like, what is this Divided Sky Foundation? Because I kept seeing in the chat people donating and so I Googled it, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And it was the pandemic, and I'm a screen printer who makes my money printing for events. So when the pandemic happened, every dollar that I made went away, like immediately. So I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I wish I could give. I don't have anything to give. I wish I could give. I wish I could give. Like, I was like, every time somebody would give, I was like, I don't have it. I don't have it. And so when the mass explosion happened, I go, I can give. Happen. I can give.
Awesome.
And so to be in a position where 1 week you're hoping that somebody will give to you, and then the next week you're able to give to somebody else. It was, I'm not going to cry, but I am. It was amazing. It was amazing. And so when we're back to this point and I say, well, yeah, I want to give. I still want to give. I want to give back. Let's do it. And Patrick was like, well, whether you want to do it or not, Trey, you don't have to. We're going to just go on board. You don't have to. You do it, And I was like, no, I want to. And then in talking with them, they found out that my husband and I founded a nonprofit, conceptual art therapy. So they were like, you know what? Why don't we do the Divided Sky Foundation and conceptual art therapy? I mean, all of these things that are happening came from them. Like, I think they're still waiting for me to say how to make it right. I got nothing. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And I kept telling them, and maybe this, Hannah, is to a, I don't want to say a woman thing because that sounds bad. I hate it when men say it. So I won't say that. But I just didn't, I was emotional about it. And I was like, how are you gonna, I hear what you're saying and all the things but how are you gonna make my emotions right? How are you gonna make my wound go away? Like, I don't think you can. Like, this is what's going on in my head. Like, I'm sure we're talking as far as stature and finances and all these other things, how do we make it right? But my head was on the emotional wound and on it's such a belittling thing.
Yeah. And it's like baked into the process, right? Which I think is what is so wounding. When they say, well, we didn't know, and also we should have known, that is the piece, I think, where the wound occurs, right? Which is that it wasn't, wasn't something that was in their process to investigate further.
Actually, it was, but they were given misinformation.
Oh, God.
Okay.
So when I say their hands were clean.
Oh, I love that.
That's great to know. Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't involved in it at all. When they said they should have known, what he was referring to was he should have called me. But who needs to do that, right? Called me and say, hey, is this okay? If you're working with someone and that someone says, she's okay with this, she signed off on this, she did this, right? Then boom, let's go. You shouldn't have to call me and say, is it true that you're okay? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, it wasn't, they were shocked. They were, Patrick, bless his heart. God, he's such a great guy. So he said to me, well, Mia, you gave so much during the mask. I just said, there she goes again, just giving. And I was like, wow, thank you. And the truth is that would have been my response had I been asked.
Had you been asked, yeah. For any Goose fans out there that don't happen to be fish fans, we have a lot of overlap in the one direction, but not 100% in the other. Divided Sky Foundation is Trey's foundation, and it focuses on delivering quality care and compassionate treatment for those suffering from alcoholism and addiction. And they're going to be opening a new facility to help people going through that struggle. So it's very close to Trey's heart for those who know anything about Trey. And I talked a little bit about this in our last show because we were in Glens Falls, New York for one of the shows, which is where the facility is going to be and where Trey did his drug court and went through a lot of his struggles there. So, there's a lot of full circle stuff happening, I think, in Trey's life. And I can imagine this being one more thing, especially because the Beacon Jams just came out. And so, your mask was once again back in the spotlight in the community again. And so it was all of these things happening all at the same time were really, for me, I was just like, oh my goodness. Our group chat also went up because I shared the picture. I was like, did you all see this? And we were like, oh my goodness. So we definitely wanted to do that. So obviously, secondary question is, what has the response been to the Trey X Mia collection? With full disclosure that I'm literally wearing one of your hoodies right now. So yeah, what has been the response been? I know I saw on your Instagram, y'all have been hard at work getting orders out. So yeah.
Yes. It's been great. It's been great. I think the day of the announcement, it was kind of scary great. Because it was like, ding, and I was like, okay, yeah, okay. But it has settled down some, and I think everybody who likes to tell you exactly what you should be doing and when you should be doing it. Is telling me like, Mia, you should be promoting, you should be. And I'm like, I'm busy. I'm making shirts. I'm shipping. I have.
Those are your favorite people.
Yeah. I'm like, can you do it for me? So, it kind of goes in waves. Like it was crazy that Saturday, which happened to be Small Business Saturday. Look at that. Yep. And then it kind of dropped off, and then it kind of went normal. And now it's kind of picking up again. It's not crazy like the mass crazy. It's not like that. But we're loving it. And I'm that one business that like listens to people. So that makes it like, it's like driving my little crew crazy because somebody said, "Oh, could you do a V-neck?" And I'm like, yeah. What about a kid shirt? Oh my God. Yeah, girl, what do you want? Oh, a baseball jersey? You got it. And my crew is like, oh my God, stop. Stop. I really can't help myself. But it's been good. It's not been like the mask. But this one, I didn't have, although I did have a heads up, I didn't have the kind of heads up that, you would want. Because first they suggest the collaboration, amazing. And then they said, well, the 2-year anniversary of the Love Mask phenomenon is just 2 weeks away. Could we? And I was like, oh my God.
A whole 2 weeks.
And we hadn't had we didn't have our designs together. We didn't have anything going. But Julia is the creative director for Fish. She jumped in there with both feet, both hands. And she was just like, I know what kind of shirts, because they do shirts as well.
Sure.
I know what kind of shirts the followers love. I know this. I know that. She just, oh my God, she said, put this on this, put this on this, do this and this and this, and put this on, and I was just like, okay, yeah.
More amazing women supporting women.
Oh
we love
God,
to see it.
So amazing. So amazing and humble and so amazing. And it wouldn't have happened. It would not have happened on that timeline without Julia. It just would not have happened.
Women can always make it happen. They can come together and problem solve like this and get the logistics done a whole 2 weeks. You got it done. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so production time. Oh, I'm going to need 7 business days after these orders come in. And you know what? The community is amazing because they're just like, okay. Like, will we get it by Christmas? Yeah, you get it by Christmas. Okay. So yeah, it's been good. I have I have 5 kids and I put them all to work, and everybody that they love, I also put them to work. And
any guests coming over like, hey, you want to do something? Here, I got you something to
do. Right. So it's like a totally different group chat now. We have our family group chat, and now we have our okay. So my kids from the Love Mask thing, they started referring to Trey as Uncle Trey.
Oh,
never met him, but he's Uncle Trey, right? And so we have this Uncle Trey group. And these are the people that are helping me to, it's like, okay, because my kids they probably hear this. They're old. So It's amazing how they are, and I'm not. They have like jobs and lives and their own kids and all of these things going on. And still, they're like, okay, Mom, when I get off work, I'll be there. And when I'm going to take off a couple days and I'm going to be there. And it's like, amazing. It's amazing. But also, I only have one daughter. I have 4 boys and a girl, and 4 men and a woman. And my daughter is really, I would say, communicatively opposite of me. She is that aggressive communicator. And because she is a woman and is an African-American woman and an aggressive communicator, she's labeled a lot, and she deals with that a lot. Where she's like, I'm just being assertive. I'm just asking for what I want. I'm just speaking up for myself. And, you know what label we get when we do that.
Oh, yeah. We know
and
that
so,
one.
And so for her to watch this happen, watch this unfold, was just like, she was like, I was mind blown, but she was just like, oh, wow. So Mom just kept her mouth shut and gathered herself. And this is what happened in the world today. And I was like, yeah. So it was beautiful all the way around. And then she had kind of a similar experience at her job where, she was being, as this often happened, overloaded. Like, oh, she can get that done. She can get that done. And we'll give it to her. She can get that done. And a coworker, while they were in a meeting, was like, that's too much. That's too much. And why is she doing this, this, and this? Or, and so she got the chance to feel, she said, I felt it. I said, what did it feel like? What did it feel like when someone didn't have to, but they did stand up and say something on your behalf? What did that feel like? She said, oh my God, it was amazing. There's so many lessons intertwined here about, for me particularly, about drawing that line between passive and assertive and aggressive communication, and where do you really need to be in order to operate a business as a woman? How do you stand up for yourself even when your voice is shaking? When do you push, and when do you? I mean, we know when. Well, I shouldn't say that. That was bad. But as a mom, I know when to push when I'm in labor. So like when I'm trying to birth something, when I want, like right now, I'm in labor. I'm taking a break from labor. I'm in complete labor. I'm pushing out shirts. I'm like, because I want this thing to happen. So on my own goals and things that I'm trying to do, I can be very pushy, but I'm not really good with asserting myself. And I'm growing there. I'm learning. This was a great learning experience. I'm learning and I'm growing in that aspect. And I'm grateful to those who helped me, those who brought me this lesson for this, because I help facilitate a group called Love Shouldn't Hurt here in Pomona. And it's a group about violence and domestic violence and communication and all these things. And it was so funny because right when that happened, we're on the communication portion of how to communicate assertively and not be passive aggressive or aggressive, but walk that line and say what you want. And I'm just sitting there like, whoa, I blew it. Boy, I should have read ahead on this one, and then I would have known what to say. All of that. But I'm 54 and I'm learning. I think I'm grown, but I'm growing. And it's all very beautiful. If the Trey and Mia collection did not happen, I still would have grown from it. I would have been bigger on the inside after a while, because you guys don't, I shrank. Like I shrank. There was a point, I'm like, how much should I say? There was a point in me saying, I'm not comfortable. And when I said I'm not comfortable, that's exactly what I said. I didn't say like, I want you to pay me or this, and I did not. I said, I'm not comfortable because, as I said earlier, I don't want to give the impression that I am now using someone else's design when I one of the pushbacks that I got was, do you think you designed something?
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. So
audacity. Mm.
And so when I say, my initial reaction was like, what? Say it again.
I was just like, how did you respond to that?
I said, excuse me? And then the response came again, do you think you designed something? And so I said, yes, I do. I think I did. I said, I had an idea. I sketched it. I put it together. I put it on a product. It didn't come from anywhere else but my head. I think I did. I really think I did. And then the further pushback was, well, the peace symbol, that has been around for a long time. And, since the 70s, people have been, and that was the point where I said, I'm not trying to fight you. I don't want to fight you. I'm saying, is there a way that I can be protected? Because I have expressed to at least one retailer who said, well, I'm a copyright lawyer also, that this is my design. And now it's going to be out there. I was told some things that would have made it okay. But those things didn't happen. And I shrank. I just shrank. I was like, oh, wow. Do I think I designed something?
Oh, man. And those questioning moments, that's terrible.
Yeah. I think that's why gaslighting is the 2022 word of the year, because that's what that question completely is, right?
And in the end of that conversation, when I just said, you know what? I said that I thought I did, and the person said, when I said I didn't want to fight, and I don't want to fight either, and then the conversation. Imagine these things are said, but not with a mean tone. This was like a happy, friendly, like, oh dear, did you think, kind of tone. So I didn't push to the level where there would be pushback. Where I was like, upset or angry. It didn't come out in my conversation. I don't know if that means I have good training or bad training, but I do know how to level myself and my emotions in a conversation. And so we were there. And I believe at the end of that conversation, the person that I was talking to was now talking to me about, hey, when we're in the same state, I'm in your state a lot, we should hang out. That's how it went. And I'm in my head, I'm like, do I think I designed something? But let's hang out.
Yeah. Always trying to be the best friend after, like, let's smooth this out.
Yeah. So let's hang out. Or I feel like I wanted to say I'm smarter than I look. Like the way the conversations were coming at me, and even the initial conversation, I was like, I know this is my design that you've already used.
Right.
I know that this happened, but nobody ever said it. Nobody ever said, we're using your design. Do you mind if we use your design? They said that I was a part of an iconic experience with Trey. And that was the sum total of my involvement in all of this.
Should be
so
thankful.
I was a part of this iconic experience, and the bags that they were making were a representation of the iconic experience that I was a part of.
And how much that represents, like how many times that happens to artists. Like, you should be thankful because this is happening to you, instead of acknowledging what they have designed and what you have done and all the hard work that goes into it. And I'm so thankful that, that you have spoken up or that was brought up, and that you have spoken up against this and said, this is what happened.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. And especially, again, going back to the erasure of women, especially women of color, like how many amazing, iconic designs or pieces of art have been the brainchild of a woman, and then they don't get the credit.
Right. I loved / hated that movie Big Eyes. I don't know if you guys
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, they big-eyed me. Like, yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it happens. And you think, I shouldn't say you think, I'm going to speak for myself. I thought, like, you move through the world and you do the right things and you're nice to people and you don't step on people, and these things are going to come back to you the same way that you give them out. But they don't. That's not how it works. But they do come back to you. The community brought it back to me. Trey brought it back to me. Patrick brought it back to me. Julia brought it back to me. Linda brought it back to me. You guys brought it back to me. But it didn't come back to me in the business sense the way that I put it out, And I was my mom used to tell me all the time, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And she never said that meant that they were going to treat you the same way. She just said that's what you do. But my understanding was, well, you do that and everybody else is doing that. And so the world is a beautiful place. But that's not how it goes. It was much later, when I was in my 30s, when a mentor said to me, you treat yourself the way you want others to treat you.
That's right.
Whoa. Okay.
And I was like, whoa, wait. She said, sweetheart, if you always put yourself last, I'm going to think that's where you want to be. And so I'm going to put you last out of a consideration of you. If you always take the smallest slice of pizza, I'm going to assume you don't like pizza. And so I'm going to serve you the smallest slice of pizza when we sit down to eat. You have to treat yourself the way you want others to treat you. You're training people right now how to treat you by the way you're treating yourself. And so that for me was a turning point. And I feel like I did that here. I don't know. As I talk to people afterwards, and that I probably should have talked to during, as I talked to people afterwards, they were saying, well, you know what would have happened if you had pushed back really hard? Patrick and Trey would have got involved right then.
Yeah.
And I was like, duh, Yeah. Because they would have had to have said to Patrick, hey, Mia's not going to let us do this, or Mia's being a butt, or, whatever. And then it would have become resolved before it ever happened. I said, you know what? You're right. But I didn't. I was passive and very emotional. And I love my emotions. So I think I'm going to hold on to those girlfriend things. But yeah, I definitely, looking back, I was like, the responsibility that I need to take out of this is be assertive in your communication. Say what you want, which I did, but say what you want. And when you get that pushback, make it clear. Stand on it. Stand on what you want. And I did not. Instead, I shrank. I shrank. And boys and girls don't do that.
And it happens. That's the thing that happens. It's very hard when people push back and you feel it's a very strong thing that happens in the artist community, because people they do not think that art is as appreciated as it should be. It's very underappreciated. And just like you said, that guy, that person who is like, do you really think that you designed something? Well, yes, sir. And then it makes you question yourself. Like, did I really do something?
I did a Google search.
And so it's just, and it's just amazing just how much just people's words can affect you like that and can make you, but it happens all the time. And so, I'm thankful that you had that moment and you turned around and you came back and, and it came to light, what happened, and helping other people to see this happening and not to underappreciate yourself, to stand up for yourself and to believe in yourself, to stand up for it and stand for it, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, your story really resonates. I mean, your career goals, your everything. I just really appreciate you taking the time to share your experiences and your stories and the lessons you learned. We've talked a little bit on the show about being vulnerable, and you certainly made yourself vulnerable with us today. So thank you. I guess my last question is, where can folks follow you, support the business, and purchase from the Trey X Mia line? We're all excited for that.
Oh, yes. Okay. So you're not going to find it at my Etsy store. I can tell that people have been looking. At just like that customshirts.com. And I'd been thinking about moving away from Etsy and doing this. I was like, Etsy, it's an amicable breakup. It's not them, it's me. But we were able to give much more to charity when we took Etsy out of the equation. And I think Etsy is a great platform for people who are starting and because they do a great job and get your advertising, getting your thing out there. But at this point, I was like, oh my God, Etsy will get more than the divided sky button if we, if we stay there. So, but yeah, you can find the website just like that, customshirts.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram as just like that custom designs. She said, checking.
And we'll include all these links will be in the show notes. So don't worry, folks.
Okay, good. Because I might have just lied to you. It's just like that custom shirts on Instagram. Oh, you know what? My age is showing. Sorry. She's definitely 54, you can tell. But yeah, it's just say things to me. I love the little messages that I'm getting. It's amazing. It's just, you don't know how great it is to be slammed with this work and feeling like I just want chili cheese fries with pastrami, which is not a good thing. And then being able to say, well, let me just look at my messages. Who said anything to me today? Right? And then go there and just be like, oh, that's so great. Okay, I can go back and finish. The messages I get, on the orders, like, oh my God, the messages that I get on, there's probably, so I write a little note card, with the orders on us. And then, and I try to get like tears and snot on them, but some of the messages that I get, like I'm looking at, if you sent me a message with your order, I'm actually looking at your message while I'm writing a note card back to you. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much.
I love that.
I love it. Just to give a personal testimonial, as I'm wearing one of the hoodies right now, they're super soft, extremely beautiful, and super high quality. So definitely click the link and go purchase. They're really, really nice. Mia, thank you again. Thank you for saying yes when I just hit you up literally on Instagram. I was like, hey, I have this little podcast. Do you want to come on and talk to some ladies about what was going on? Because we were very interested in it. And also, as Hannah and Chelsea both said, this is right in the wheelhouse of all the topics that we want to cover on this show. And so we're really, really grateful for you being here, especially as busy as you are right now. And glad we were able to be a small break for you, a small break, a little mini break. That's right. And thanks for sharing your story for the first time with us. We're just so honored and can't thank you enough.
super honored. I have like loved your design forever. So when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Cause I have, I have your shirts, I have your stuff also. And I just had to run in. I didn't have time to put it on. I was just super excited. I was like, oh, this is such an honor, like to meet you and talk to you and just having your design anyway and your stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm super excited. I'm so thankful to hear your story. And so thank you very much. And nice to meet you. It's been very awesome to hear your story.
You guys should all come hang out sometime.
No. We've got to get you to a Goose show. So that's our next order of business because yes, we'll be right on.
I don't know if you're ready for me.
Oh, we're ready. We are ready. We are ready. So I'll take that on myself and we'll figure out they've got a lot going on in 2023 and we're going to find a slice where we can get Mia to her first Goose show. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. Even just thinking about it, I've got more goosebumps. Thank you so much again, Mia, and we'll talk to you soon. Wow. I'm a little speechless right now, y'all. That was pretty amazing. Thanks again to Mia Lee for coming on the show. All of our heads are sort of blown. I want to do just a quick round robin of just like, what did you take from the convo? I'll start with you, Chelsea.
I think for me, as also a small business owner in a creative field, that was just like a masterclass for me. I was just like watching her like, yeah, I should be thinking about that. Yeah, I have an Etsy too. So like, I was really just soaking it all in. And you can just tell she has so much experience running her business and she's really built it herself. And that's just amazing to see. So I just think that was really cool hearing about a women-owned business doing it on her own and what that's like.
Oh, yeah. So good. Hannah.
Yeah. So I think she was teaching us all these lessons. And one thing that I really heard through all those lessons is like, and we all sort of touched on this idea that women get shit done, and we do. We will rise to the occasion. But just because women get shit done doesn't mean we always have to, and doesn't mean we always have to do it all. And so taking time to listen to your gut, listen to yourself, which Mia could have done a masterclass just in that and trusting your gut and like, taking time for yourself, taking a step back to think slowly about the process and what's happening. And, I think that's just a really important reminder because a lot of our listeners do have small businesses and creative pursuits. And so, taking that with them for sure.
Love it. Alexius.
So from a lot of that, I mean, a lot of what Chelsea and Hannah said already, but also that we women are taught to dial down our voices. And so we do a lot of things, we do a lot of great things and we're just taught to kind of like stand back and that we should be grateful that people are, looking at it. And then, a lot of big businesses do that also and try and make it seem like that we should be grateful and we definitely should be grateful, not to say that we shouldn't, but there has to be to find that balance and to also realize that you don't have to dial down your voice, that you can do it in a calm manner because Mia does it in a very calm manner. We don't need to be aggressive, but we need to be there and we need to be present and we need to make sure that we are representing ourselves and not letting someone crush us and make us crumble and, and realize our worth. And that's a lot of things is just remembering who we are and our worth. And so I think that was a big part of what I took out of it is, knowing our voice and keeping it and knowing our worth.
Yeah, I really loved her critiquing herself in real time, thinking through, what she could have done differently, why she did what she did. I just love the level of introspection. It's such a valuable tool for all of us. And so just watching her display it right in front of us was really humbling and just a beautiful thing to witness. And again, thank you, Mia, and everyone, please look in the show notes. You will have links to go buy all of the things from Mia and support her amazing business. And you can get get the Trey X Mia Love collection. And as I said, I'm literally wearing one of the hoodies right now, and it's super soft and beautiful and well made. And you'll probably see me out on tour with it very soon. So speaking of tour, Goosemas is upon us, everybody.
Yes.
Huzzah,
I just got my flight reminder today for your flight to Denver soon. And I was like, yes.
Coming. So exciting.
I love it. So we're going to do a quick, small closing out because the show really was all about Mia. But what are we expecting and hoping for in this Goosemas run? Hannah, I'll start with you because I know you're going to be couch touring.
Yeah, so for Goosemas, I think I'm the only one out of the four of us who's couch touring it up. So I'm just excited. This is my first semester at my new gig. And so I'll be home in Ohio on my best friend's couch with, I got to shout out my Cincy Trash crew. I'll get to hang out with them and watch it with some of those folks. So I am super pumped for that. And, you know, I have no expectations. It's going to be a ball.
Sure is. Chelsea. Yeah, that's right. Chelsea, how about you?
I'm super excited to meet Leslie and Alexius there. We're all three going to be in the same place at the same time for the first time. So that's exciting. I think we talked last episode about not having expectations. Mm-hmm. I'm still chasing a honeybee. I know that's a lot of people get a honeybee. I have not had one. So I would be happy with that. But really, I just want to like dance and have a great time. And as long as I dance and move my body, I am happy. So it's going to be amazing.
Right.
Alexius.
So I realized taking a shower this morning, you know, I was just kind of recapping the year of what's been going on. And I realized that, you know, this is the first Goosemas outside of Connecticut. So again, here we're going to be at another, you know, historical event. And so I'm kind of, you know, just going to take in that moment, you know, kind of put no expectations on it, just enjoy every moment with my friends and, you know, give everyone hugs and, you know, enjoy this, you know, because I know people outside of the Goose community don't know it's a big deal yet, but they will realize it in time. And so now that we realize that, I think before, you know, it's nice to kind of like, oh yeah. So I'm going to give everyone hugs. I'm excited to be with y'all. And I'm just excited to enjoy the moment in Colorado and see some snow and some beautiful things to keep us in the Christmas spirit and to wear a cute outfit, I guess, for Goosemas, since Leslie and I were talking about it, you know, maybe dress up one night, maybe. No promises.
No promises.
We'll see
We're thinking about it.
No promises.
And also I'll see how cold it is because that's my other factor there. I'm really looking for, I'm going to be honest, Tab was, Taboo's Couture was great. I'm just really looking forward to 4 full sets of Goose. Those little, first of all, the festival sets, they're too short. Yeah. And the Tab, Taboo tour was great, but it wasn't Goose. And so for me, I'm just really looking forward to be back in that cocoon of, amazingness that these 5 amazing musicians put on for us whenever they tap the stage. So that's it for me. I'm just like, Goose, so much Goose. I love it. It's going to be amazing. Alexius, I wanted you to touch on the fundraiser that Western Sun Foundation is doing for New Year's.
Okay, so yes, we are doing a fundraiser, and what we have paired with Peaslee Neighborhood Center, and we're very excited to announce that it's our first Give Back initiative centered around Goose New Year's Eve run in Ohio and Cincinnati, and so we've chosen this to highlight this city that Goose goes to, and this is our first city, and it's a community center that's less than 2 miles away from the festivities, and so we are trying to raise money we're trying to raise $5,000 and Peaslee for the programs that they offer. So this is our goal to raise. I think that we have gotten close to raising almost half, so we might raise it a little bit more. And thanks to the wonderful Goose community. And so you can check it out on westernsunfoundation.org to help donate. And we were just saying, like, if everyone donates just $10, and also, so if you donate through the campaign, and you will be entered for a raffle. One entry is $10 per person, and prizes are to be announced throughout the month. And the drawing will be on January 2nd of 2023. And I've heard that there are going to be some really awesome raffles that are giving away, from community artists to possibly some surprises and some things that maybe some posters. I'm not for sure, but I've not for sure about everything, but just different things that people are donating, and to make it an awesome prize pack. So we will see. And so that's $10, and you go to westernsunfoundation.org.
Awesome. Thanks. And also, those that are going to Goosemas, Western Sun Foundation will have a table at the venue. So you can actually just enter right there into the raffle. Just go right on up and get information and donate right on the spot. So those of you who are going to Colorado, make sure you do that. I think there's even going to be one prize that's only going to be given away at the location. So there's something special for folks that are going to be in town for Goosemas, which is very cool. And as always, support the Western Sun Foundation. So, small announcement from our crew. We want to hear from all of you. We have a voicemail line set up for all of you Goose Chicks and fans who want to share your experiences with Goose and in the jam band scene. You can call 704-275-3128. Again, that's 704-275-3128 to leave us a message. And you never know, it might get played right here on the show for everybody to hear. Throughout the season, we'll probably be doing some prompts for the phone line. But for right now, you can just share any of your experiences and anything that's going on for you. I have a couple of corrections from our Taboos recap because my husband is slightly stats obsessed. So he wanted to mention one, that the freshie from ATL night one was everything must go, not all I need, as I incorrectly stated. And lastly, that Trey, I was just flippantly saying, I expected, Trey to do, some regular stuff. And I just offhandedly said Arcadia, and Trey did indeed play Arcadia at the Songus Center on December 11th, but I was just using that as a fill-in. He didn't do any of the stuff that he played at Radio City Music Hall, was really what I was trying to say, besides Arcadia.
Thank you, Drew, for our fact corrections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I can't, if he and Jason were listening all the time, I'm sure that they would just be like, don't get anything wrong. They would fact check everything.
He was like, a couple things. I was like, oh goodness, here we go. Awesome. Well, that's it for this episode of Goose Chicks podcast. Please, thanks everybody for listening. And thanks again to Mia for joining us. I mean, I don't even know what to say. My head is still like kind of spinning. I can't wait to listen to this conversation back.
Goose Chicks podcast is produced by Leslie Mack with support from sound engineer Matt Dwyer, co-hosts Alexius Lipo, and contributors Chelsea Long and Hannah Liebreich. That's me.
We are a proud member of the Osiris Media family. You can check us out on socials at Goose Chicks Pod and on our website, goosechickspod.com. As always, we encourage our listeners to support the Western Sun Foundation. Visit westernsunfoundation.org for more information.
Remember to subscribe and leave us a review in your favorite podcast app. Also tell a friend about the show. It really helps us out. Until next time, be kind to each other out there. Bye, y'all.
Osiris.